Welcome back. Today, we explore the value of these top 8 most valuable USA Abraham Lincoln steel penny and wheat penny coins that could make you a millionaire. Let's counting one by one. First up, the 1943 steel Lincoln penny, specifically the large date variety with a D mint mark in dirty condition. You might be wondering, how much is this penny worth in today's auction market, even in its less than pristine state? Well, stick around because we'll cover everything you need to know about its value and what makes this coin special. Let's first dive into a little history about the 1943 steel Lincoln penny. During World War I, there was a shortage of copper in the United States, so the U.S. Mint decided to strike pennies out of steel in 1943, replacing the usual copper composition. This was a one-year change, and by 1944, pennies returned to their standard copper composition. The 1943 steel pennies are instantly recognizable because of their silver color, which is a major giveaway. Although the steel pennies were produced to address the war effort, they weren't particularly popular with the public. They tended to rust and deteriorate, which is why many collectors are drawn to them today. And if you've come across a 1943 steel penny, you're likely wondering, how much is mine worth? In 1943, the U.S. Mint produced 2 types of Lincoln steel pennies, the small date and the large date variety. The large date is more common and tends to be a bit less valuable than its small date counterpart. Now, this is where the D Mint mark comes into play. The D Mint mark indicates that the penny was struck at the Denver Mint. Although the Denver Mint produced a large number of these coins, their value depends on the condition they're in. Even in dirty condition, a 1943 steel penny with the D Mint mark still holds some value. But how much? Let's dive deeper. Now, we need to talk about what we mean by dirty condition. A coin in dirty condition typically shows signs of wear and grime buildup from being exposed to the elements over time. The coin might have corrosion, dirt, oil stains, or tarnish that diminishes its overall appearance. The design elements of the coin might be difficult to read, and the shiny silver luster of a well-preserved steel penny is likely faded. While this may not be ideal for a collector looking for a pristine coin, the 1943 steel penny in dirty condition can still have value. It's all about how much wear and damage the coin has sustained, and how much of the original design is still visible. So, how much is your 1943 steel penny with the D Mint mark worth in dirty condition today? While it's not going to fetch the same price as one in mint condition, it still holds value in the market. On average, you can expect a 1943 steel penny with a D Mint mark in dirty condition to be worth somewhere between $600 to $8 at auction. Why does a dirty condition coin still command some value? It's because collectors are always on the lookout for these iconic coins, even if they're not in the best shape. Many people who collect Lincoln pennies are eager to complete their sets, so any variation of the 1943 steel penny, even with wear and grime, can be a sought-after item. But like all coins, the condition is only one factor in determining the value. Other factors include the coin's rarity, demand, and historical significance. The 1943 steel penny is rare by nature due to the fact that it was produced for only 1 year, which makes it highly collectible even in dirty condition. Although the large date with a D Mint mark isn't the rarest variety, it's still a significant part of U.S. coinage history, which keeps its demand strong. With over 1 billion 1943 steel pennies produced in total, they remain a memorable coin for collectors and history buffs alike. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel penny, specifically the large date variety without mint mark and in good condition. If you've ever found one of these in your collection or in your pocket change, you might be wondering, how much is it worth in today's auction market? Well, you're in the right place to find out. Before we dive into the value of the 1943 steel penny in good condition, let's take a quick look at why this coin is so special. During World War II, there was a shortage of copper, so the U.S. Mint made a major change to the composition of the penny. In 1943, they struck pennies with steel instead of copper, and the result was a shiny, silver-colored penny. This was a one-year change, and the pennies struck in 1943 are among the most famous coins in American numismatic history. The steel pennies were produced in large numbers, and they were immediately recognizable because of their unique color. However, the public didn't exactly love the new design. The steel pennies tended to rust, making them prone to wear and corrosion. As a result, many of these coins are in less than ideal condition today. Now, let's talk about the 1943 large-date steel penny. When the U.S. Mint produced the 1943 steel pennies, they struck them with two different date styles, the small date and the large date. The large date variety is by far the more common of the two, and as a result, it's generally less valuable than the small date variety, which is rarer, but it's still a significant coin, and collectors are always on the lookout for it. In fact, 1943 steel pennies are one of the most collected coins in the Lincoln Cent series, and the large date variety remains a prized piece in any collection, even if it's not as rare as the small date. Now, let's talk about what we mean when we say a coin is in good condition. In coin grading, good condition means the coin shows substantial wear, but the main design elements are still legible. The Lincoln portrait is visible, and the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" can still be read, but there may be signs of heavy scratching, discoloration, or light corrosion. For the 1943 steel penny, this is a common condition, given its age and the fact that these coins were made of steel, which is much more susceptible to corrosion than copper. So, what's this 1943 Lincoln steel penny worth in good condition today? The value of a 1943 steel penny can vary based on the market. But for one in good condition, you're typically looking at a price range between $11.50 at auction. While it's not going to break the bank, these pennies are still sought after by collectors and history enthusiasts. The good condition version of the 1943 large date without a mint mark is still considered valuable because of the rarity of the steel composition and its connection to wartime America. But what makes one coin worth more than another? Several factors influence the value of a 1943 steel penny beyond just its condition. Let's go over some of the key elements that can drive the price up. First, mintage numbers. In 1943, more than 1 billion steel pennies were minted across all varieties and mint marks, so the coin is relatively common. However, the large date variety with a D or no mint mark still holds historical value, as it's part of a one-year production. The market demand for 1943 steel pennies is also strong, which helps keep their value consistent in the auction market. Then, there's the overall condition. While good condition coins aren't as valuable as those in excellent or mint condition, they still attract interest because they can serve as a more affordable entry point for collectors. Cleaned or damaged coins, on the other hand, tend to have lower values. So, if you're looking to maximize your penny's worth, try to preserve its natural patina. If you found a 1943 steel penny and it's in good condition, congratulations. But what should you do with it next? Well, if you plan to sell, be sure to store your coin properly in a protective holder to prevent further damage. And if you're thinking about cleaning your coin, remember, it's generally better to leave it as is. Cleaning can reduce the coin's value, especially if it causes any scratches or damage to the surface. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel penny with a large date and an S mint mark in fine condition. If you've got one of these in your collection, you might be wondering, how much is this coin worth in today's auction market? Well, stick around because we're going to break down everything you need to know about this special coin and its current value. First, let's take a quick step back in time. In 1943, the United States was deep into World War I, and there was a serious shortage of copper. In response, the U.S. Mint switched from copper to steel to produce pennies for 1 year only. These pennies were distinctive because of their silver gray color, which made them stand out from the usual copper pennies we're all familiar with. Although this change was meant to save copper for military use, it caused a number of problems. The steel pennies were prone to rusting and didn't have the same long-lasting appeal as copper pennies. But despite the challenges, the 1943 steel penny became a symbol of wartime ingenuity and resourcefulness. Now, when we talk about the 1943 steel penny, we need to discuss one important detail: the difference between the large date and the small date. The large date variety is more common and was struck in higher numbers, making it a bit more affordable than the small date version, which is rarer and highly sought after by collectors. The large date version is easily identified by the size of the numbers in the year 1943 on the obverse. The large date was used primarily for the S-Mint mark coins, and these are the ones we're focusing on today. Speaking of mint marks, this is where things get interesting. The 1943 steel penny was minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The S-Mint mark stands for the San Francisco Mint, which is known for producing coins with a distinct quality and finish. The S-Mint mark version of the 1943 steel penny is not as rare as some might think, but it does carry a bit more weight in terms of value, especially when it's in fine condition. Now, let's talk about what fine condition really means when it comes to coin grading. According to the American Numismatic Association, a coin in fine condition shows significant wear, but still retains most of its features. You can clearly see the Lincoln portrait and the date and mint mark are legible, although the details are softened. There may be some light scratches or discoloration, but the overall design is still well defined. Coins in fine condition don't have the sharpness or definition of a very fine or extremely fine coin, but they still hold a lot of value due to their historical significance, and the 1943 steel penny is no exception. So, what's the 1943 steel penny, large date with S-Mint mark, worth in fine condition today? Well, the value of this coin can fluctuate based on auction demand and market trends, but in fine condition, you can expect it to sell for anywhere between $49,000 in today's market. Now, that price range may vary depending on factors like the overall appearance of the coin, how much detail is still visible, and whether it's being sold through a private sale or an auction. If your coin is in particularly nice fine condition or has other desirable features, it could push the value closer to the higher end of that range. But what drives the price up or down? A few key factors come into play when determining the value of a coin like the 1943 steel penny in fine condition. Let's break them down. The San Francisco Mint produced a relatively high number of 1943 steel pennies with the large date and S-Mint mark. However, because of the rusting issue and the passage of time, the number of high-quality surviving examples is much lower, and that helps drive demand in the market. Next up, the 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny, specifically the large date variety without a mint mark and in a dirty condition with color shade. You might think, a dirty coin, how can it be valuable? Well, let's dive into why this 1916 penny is worth way more than just a cent today. Before we go into the specific details of the coin's value, let's quickly revisit what makes the 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first minted in 1909, and it's been a favorite among collectors ever since. It features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. Now, in 1916, the U.S. Mint produced 2 versions of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, the small date and the large date. The 1916 large date is more highly coveted by collectors due to its distinctive, larger digits. This alone sets it apart from the 1916 small date, but the story doesn't end there. What truly makes this penny a collector's gem is its absence of a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. But more importantly, we're talking about the coin's condition in particular, the dirty condition and color shade it has developed over the years. So what exactly makes a 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny in dirty condition with a color shade so valuable? You might think that dirt and grime would lower a coin's value, but when it comes to rare coins like this one, the story is a little more complicated. First, let's talk about color shade. Over time, copper coins like the Lincoln Wheat Penny oxidize. When a penny has aged, it often develops a brown or reddish tint, which is perfectly normal. However, some coins develop a unique color shade due to the way they've been stored or exposed to the elements. This can include darker hues or a deeper patina, which gives the coin a distinct appearance. Now, you might be wondering, dirty condition? Well, yes. Coins in dirty or uncleaned condition are often not what collectors prefer, but they can still be valuable. especially when the dirt or tarnish has been accumulated over decades or even centuries. The dirt can provide clues to the coin's journey through time, and collectors sometimes seek out these older pieces for their historical appeal, even with imperfections. So, when you combine the large date variety, the absence of a mint mark, and the unique aging process that created a color shade and dirt on the coin, it becomes a historically significant piece, and it drives up the value. All right, so let's talk about how much a 1916 large date Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark, in dirty condition with color shade, is worth on today's auction market. This might surprise you. At first glance, you might assume that a coin in dirty condition wouldn't be worth much. However, the market for rare pennies, particularly those from the Lincoln Wheat series, has been growing for years. The 1916 large date penny, while not the rarest of the series, is still a key date that collectors want to complete their sets. In auction houses, the value of a 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny in dirty condition can range anywhere from $58,000, depending on factors like the extent of dirt, the color shade, and the overall demand in the market at the time. Now, for a more average example of the 1916 penny, say a coin that's in poor to fine condition with visible dirt, but a distinctive color tone, you could expect it to fetch a price closer to $85,000. But if this coin is sold at an auction where collectors are actively looking for this particular variation, the bidding could easily go higher, sometimes reaching $97 or more. The coin's specific character, whether it's got a distinctive copper tone or some unique environmental markings, can significantly influence the final auction value. Let's take a look at some recent auction results to give you a better idea of how this coin is performing in the current market. As you can see, just in the past few months, some 1916 large date Lincoln Wheat Pennies have sold for $135,000, even in less than ideal conditions. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, featuring the large date and D-mint mark. But here's the kicker: we're focusing on the good condition version of this coin and how its value stacks up in the auction market today. So, if you're looking to sell or just curious about what this coin could be worth, stick around. Before we get into the value of this coin, let's go over the basics. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic coins from the Lincoln Wheat Penny series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. The 1944 penny was produced in huge numbers during World War I, when copper was in high demand for ammunition. So many of the pennies were actually made from steel during that time. However, the 1944 Lincoln penny was made from copper again, which makes it a standard copper penny. Now, the large date variety of the 1944 penny is distinctive because the digits in the year are noticeably larger than the small date version. For collectors, this variation makes a huge difference, and the D-mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Denver. It's important to note that while the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny isn't one of the rarest in the series, it's still very much sought after due to its historical significance and popularity. Now, let's talk about condition. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. The 1944 large date with D-mint mark is most commonly found in a range of conditions from heavily worn examples to ones in brilliant uncirculated condition. But for this video, we're focusing on the good condition version of the coin. A good condition coin typically means that the details on the coin are still visible, but some wear is present. In the case of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, you can still clearly see the image of Lincoln on the obverse and the two wheat stalks on the reverse, though there may be some signs of wear, light scratches, or discoloration. It's important to note that even in good condition, the 1944 large date with the D-mint mark still holds substantial value, more than many other coins in the series, because it's a popular key date in the Lincoln Wheat series, and demand for it remains strong in the market. So, what can you expect to get for a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition with a D-mint mark in today's auction market? Well, the value of this penny can vary based on the coin's exact condition, but in general, prices for a 1944 large date with D-mint mark in good condition range between $2 and $15. The reason why there's a range is because coins in good condition can have varying degrees of wear, For instance, if the wear on the coin is minimal and the details are still sharp enough, the coin can fetch a price closer to the higher end of that range, around $10 to $15. On the other hand, if the coin has a lot of wear, stains, or discoloration, it might fall closer to the lower end of the price range, around $2 to $5. In auctions, it's not uncommon for this coin to be sold in bulk collections or in higher quality condition that will fetch a premium. However, good condition 1944 Lincoln pennies, particularly with a D mint mark, are still relatively easy to find, and thus they don't fetch as much as coins in higher grades. Let's take a look at some recent auction results to get a better idea of what these coins are going for. Over the last few months, a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny with D mint mark in good condition has sold anywhere from $3 to $12, depending on the overall appeal of the coin. For example, one auction result shows a 1944 large date with D mint mark in good condition selling for $8. Another auction shows a coin with slightly more visible wear going for only $3, while a coin with a slightly sharper strike and more defined features sold for a whopping $12. So, as you can see, the value can swing based on demand, coin details, and the market at the time of the auction. That being said, there's often a higher demand for coins in better condition. So if your 1944 penny is in excellent or near mint condition, you could expect to sell it for considerably more, closer to $20 or higher in some cases. So, why do collectors love the 1944 large date Lincoln Wheat penny with D mint mark? Well, there are a few reasons. First, the 1944 Lincoln penny was struck at a time of historical significance. During the height of World War I.E., the penny was made during a time of rationing and copper shortages, which adds a level of interest for collectors. Second, it's a key coin in the Lincoln Wheat series, and many collectors seek it out to complete their sets. Though not as rare as other dates in the series, the 1944 large date with D mint mark still holds a place in the hearts of collectors because of its significant mintage and role in American history. Next up, the 1929 large date Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark. You may be wondering, what makes this coin so valuable, especially in very fine condition? How does it perform in today's auction market? Stick around as we break it all down for you. The 1929 large date Wheat penny is an important coin in the history of U.S. currency. The Wheat pennies, minted from 1909 to 1958, are famous for their distinctive wheat stalk design on the reverse side. These coins feature the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and they were produced in large numbers over many years. The 1929 penny is particularly interesting because of its distinctive large date style. This version of the penny features a bold, easy, two-red 1929 that stands out due to the size of the numbers. While the difference may seem subtle, it's a key characteristic that helps collectors distinguish between the large date and small date varieties. The 1929 large date Wheat penny was minted during a time of economic turbulence, just before the onset of the Great Depression. With the country's financial challenges, these pennies were produced in relatively large quantities. However, despite the high mintage numbers, the 1929 large date is still a coin that's become quite rare in higher grades. One of the reasons the 1929 large date without a mint mark is so valuable is due to its relatively low survival rate in higher grades. Many of these pennies circulated extensively, which means fewer of them have survived in the excellent condition that collectors covet today. Now, let's talk about the coin's condition. If you're familiar with coin collecting, you know that grading is crucial to determining a coin's value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect condition. For our 1929 large date penny, we're looking at a coin in very fine condition, which is a grade between 20 and 30 on the scale. In very fine condition, you'll notice that the coin shows significant wear, but many of the details are still visible. The wheat stalks on the reverse, Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, and the date are still clear, though they might be somewhat worn or softened from years of circulation. In this condition, the coin is not pristine, but it still holds a lot of value due to its overall appearance and the fact that it's hard to find many 1929 pennies in such good shape after decades of use. So, What is the value of a 1929 large-date wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition in today's auction market? Let's dive into the numbers. Based on auction results from the last few years, a 1929 large-date penny in very fine condition typically sells for around $40 to $58, depending on the exact quality of the coin and the auction environment. While this may not sound like a huge amount for a single penny, it's important to remember that the value of this coin is directly linked to its rarity in this condition and its demand among collectors. Coins in higher grades, such as extra fine or about uncirculated, can fetch higher prices, sometimes reaching $75 or more. And if you're lucky enough to find a 1929 large-date penny in mint state, you could see prices soar into the hundreds of dollars, especially with the right buyer. Next up, the 1939 large-date Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with an S mint mark in extra fine condition. This coin is not only a piece of American history, but also a valuable collector's item. So, how much is this coin worth in today's auction market? Let's dive in. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, minted from 1909 to 1958, is beloved by collectors worldwide. The 1939 edition, minted at the San Francisco Mint, carries the iconic mint mark below the date. This distinguishes it from the pennies minted in Philadelphia or Denver that same year. The obverse features a classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse displays the famous wheat stalk symbolizing prosperity and abundance. The large dates variety, as the name suggests, has bold and prominent numerals in the year, adding to its distinctiveness. Now, let's talk about condition, which is one of the biggest factors influencing a coin's value. The term extra fine refers to coins that show only slight wear on the high points of the design. For this 1939 wheat penny, details like Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks are still sharp, but there may be minor signs of use. What makes the 1939 S penny stand out is its relative rarity in higher grades. While millions were minted, only a fraction of these coins have survived in excellent condition after decades of circulation. That's why a 1939 S penny in extra fine condition is so sought after by collectors. The value of a 1939 S Lincoln Wheat Penny in extra fine condition typically ranges from $48 to $90. This price can fluctuate depending on factors like the coin's exact grade, its eye appeal, and demand at the time of sale. But here's the exciting part. If your 1939 S penny is in an even higher grade, such as almost uncirculated AU, or mint state, misses its value could increase significantly, reaching $700 or more. Rare varieties or error coins from this year could fetch even higher prices. Next up, the 1938 large-date Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with a Denver mint mark, graded as very fine. How much is this coin worth in today's auction market? Stick around to find out. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series ran from 1909 to 1958, designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The 1938 edition was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. What sets the Denver minted coins apart is the small ED mint mark located just below the date on the obverse. This identifies it as being struck at the Denver Mint, which produced about 20.5 million of these coins in 1938. The obverse features Lincoln's iconic profile, while the reverse showcases 2 wheat stalks flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America. This simple yet elegant design has made the wheat penny a favorite among collectors. When evaluating a coin's value, condition is key. The term very fine refers to coins that show moderate wear but still retain most of their details. On a 1938 ED penny in very fine condition, you'll notice light wear on Lincoln's hair and cheekbones, but the overall design remains clear. While 20.5 million coins might seem like a large number, not all of them have survived over the decades, especially in collectible grades. This makes preserved examples increasingly valuable. Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much is a 1938 DE wheat penny in very fine condition worth in today's auction market? If you have one in an even higher grade, like extremely fine XF or mint state, misses the value could climb significantly, reaching $900 or more. For top-tier examples, unique errors or varieties could push the value even higher. So, is the 1938 AD wheat penny a good investment? Absolutely. Coins from the late 1930s, especially with mint marks, are becoming harder to find in collectible grades as more collectors enter the market. Demand for these coins continues to rise. If you have a 1938 D penny, consider having it professionally graded to maximize its value. And if you're looking to add one to your collection, now might be the perfect time to search for one at an auction or reputable dealer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts. Let me know in the comments if you own a 1938 penny or if there's another coin you'd like me to cover in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting content, and until next time, happy collecting.